yes, it will be, Stephen. I made sure the tracks are right, you know.
Keep that, mark it fab. John, welcome on in, folks, to our Friday night's entertainment news. We've got one topic and one topic in mind because there's nothing else that we want to talk about. It's been Beatles week, here all week, everywhere, all at once.
Everything, everywhere.
Yeah.
All at once.
The radio, on the internet, everywhere. It's been everywhere. We're obviously talking about the Beatles' last song, Now and Then. And we're going to be talking about this, and only this, because it's all we want to talk about. And we're going to be talking about the audio, we're going to be talking about the video, we're going to be talking about the documentary from Wednesday night. So, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday have been big days, John, in terms of
the whole week, Stephen.
Beatles news, but anticipation,
I've been
of course.
buzzing for this since last week.
Yeah. Well, we've been buzzing for
since
this
June.
for a long time, haven't we?
And probably longer.
I've been buzzing for this since Macca talked about this on the Jeff Lynne documentary, when apparently George Harrison said, fucking rubbish this. You know?
Steve, he's been vindicated on that, and I'm glad George's name has been unsullied.
By Olivia and Danny?
No, but I think it has. It's apparently, I think maybe even Macca spoke about it. He was keen to finish it and see it through,
John,
but technically
it's evident in the video. You can see he's enjoying it. Yeah,
I think just technically he just didn't have any faith, and he was right because it was far too muddied a track. They would never have been able to separate. Not even Jeff Lynne's.
That's a good starting point,
unbelievable
John,
fucking skill.
Where we can go with this conversation. Obviously, origins of the song, and talking about obviously the Lennon demo. I don't know when you first heard this track.
Probably around about the time I discovered Nostalgia through you, Stephen, and heard Freeze a Bird and Real Love, and then obviously was made aware there was an additional home recording demo tape that hadn't seen the light of day, hadn't been given the sort of full Beatles treatment. That's when I became aware of it.
I had a bootleg Lennon Anthology, not the box set Lennon Anthology.
Did you not share that?
It was like a black and white double disc I bought in a car boot sale in Oban, of all places. And I think I bought an REM live CD as well. They fell off the back of a truck or something like that, but I had a version of Now and Then on, and it was a piano one. It was just the scratchy piano one that everyone knows, obviously, on YouTube. And then there was this guy, and a Phony, I Am Phony or something like that, had one on the internet for about 15 years, and it was a great sort of homage. He was using sort of, backing tracks from Because and All You Need Is Love and all that, and it was great. And then it got pulled about a year ago, and that's when we knew, something's happening. Yeah, something. If that video's been pulled from YouTube, there's a good reason for it, because that's been up there for about 15 years.
There's another version though, Stephen. There is another. That's up there.
Well, the one you sent me, John's a cover version.
Yeah, Los Escaraba. I can't even say that.
I was going to say it's a Spanish guy singing.
Yeah, but it's very good.
It's
the way they've structured it, the way they've obviously kept the full extent of the song, the original demo tape in there. And it's got those Beatles elements. It's got the guitar work that you would expect from George Harrison. It's got the little melodies and the little backing vocals. It's all very Beatley. Yeah. And it just works. And obviously even the drumming. Nah, what's the bit that's been missing? I don't know. It's another bit, to be fair. It's almost like a marching beat on the drums. I can imagine Ringo doing that. Yeah. So they've done a great job with that cover. The version you played timed again, Stephen, I used to hear you playing it.
Yeah, and I was aware of it. I Am the Phony or something. I think
it was very, very good as well. But Steve, we'll get into that, I'm sure.
John, I kind of made peace with the fact that Real Love was going to be the last song, which isn't a bad thing. Real Love's a fantastic track.
Yeah,
we talked about
that, Still the best of those three.
That this version, this sort of knockoff version, was the sort of what would you say, the ugly duckling of the Beatles catalogue. It wasn't a real one, but it was as Beatlesque as it could be, and I accepted. It'll do. It's a good song, good lyrics in there, and the story behind it with obviously the tape saying "For Paul," and apparently, according to Paul's story, is that it was the last words that John Lennon had said to him.
Think of me now and then, old friend, or something like that.
So I mean, it kind of added a bit of emotional weight to it, as much as the quality of the tape was pretty poor.
Which makes it all the more remarkable where we're at just now, Stephen. Yeah. I've watched quite a few reactions to this just to gauge different voices from around the world and how they're how it's resonating with them. And I think the common denominator throughout this is the unbelievable job they've done on Lennon's vocal track, separating his scratchy voice from an even scratchier piano, and making it so clear. I says to you the first time I heard it on the documentary at the end, when they gave you that little sample near the end of the 12-minute documentary, it's even got the studio quality where you've got a very subtle reverb. It's not like echoey, you're sitting in an amphitheatre somewhere and you're at a fucking auditorium and it's that level of reverb. It's just a very subtle, soft little bit of reverb. Well, one issue I've got is I don't know if they do double track it at some point, but Lennon was notorious for hating his own voice in a singular form, so every song was double tracked.
And I think the reason for that was because if you listen to the demo tape, a couple of lines, a couple of words at the end of a couple of the lines, Lennon he's singing kind of just, he's mining, John. Let's be honest, it's not a complete song that he's singing. He's thinking of the words, and some of the words are not quite there. And I think the reason they've double tracked it is to bring Mac in, to finish a couple of the lines. You hear him coming in and just completing the sort of sentence for him.
They did that in Freeze a Bird, didn't they? Macca doubled his voice up with Lennon's to give it that thickness. And that immediately gives it the Beatles vibe, because when I think of Lennon, I think of mid to late Lennon at least, probably even the later stages of the early Beatles albums.
Yeah.
He was already dabbling with the double tracking and making his voice that little bit fatter. So just on a technical level, watching that documentary and hearing that sample, I was just buzzing, because I knew they'd done something fucking stellar with the voice. And there's a lot of talk of AI, Stephen, and the use of that kind of technology in music and in art. This is something the Beatles would have been dabbling with if it was about 50 years ago. Certainly Lennon, I seen someone comment, Lennon would have been at the forefront of technology if he was still alive.
Yeah.
The guy
he'd have loved
lived
Twitter.
And breathed.
He'd have loved Twitter.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Stephen. He'd have been
Liam Gallagher.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
He embraces that chat that platform, and it's suited to his sort of personality, and just like John.
Liam loved it.
Yeah. I saw his comments. Yeah, it was good. I wasn't sure how he would feel about that. John, let's talk about the actual album cover. The single cover.
I'm going to bring it up and see if we can get this.
It's a blue-green gradient with obviously angled now and then characters, sort of going from
it's like
angled.
See if I can bring this up.
A lot of people not too keen on it. I'm not really bothered about it, to be honest with you. I think
I like it.
It doesn't really matter to me. The best one for me was Real Love. I thought that just capturing that sort of 1966, them sort of posing with their suede jackets on with the little, I think it was an apple, but it was in the shape of a love heart.
Yeah.
Which was pretty good for Real Love. I liked that one. Freeze a Bird was just a Lennon sketch. This one's kind of, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's meant to represent. A lot of people have said it's something to do with obviously the Blue Album.
I think absolutely, Stephen. I mean, if you go back here and you go, there's someone superimposed it, haven't they, over the shot. Where the hell was it? I found it there. And now I've lost it again.
Yeah.
There. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. You look at that. I don't know if you're going to see that on the actual OBS, but it's not exact. But you can see that it's like an abstract version of the staircases. And that's them in the younger form, that's them in the older form looking down. Or is it the other way about? I don't know.
I think it's the other way about, yeah.
Yeah, the older and younger. Yeah. But it's very pertinent to the actual song title. Now and then, young and old. And now we're even another sort of step down again, where it's like old 80-something Ringo and George, Macca. Yeah. George and Lennon, sadly, no longer with us. George and John, I'm going to say, because that's weird when you say a full name and then a surname. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Lennon and Harrison, so sadly no longer with us. We're all almost a step out again, so it's really, I like the way it's been constructed. I like the simplicity of the colours.
Yeah.
Some people have been shitting on it. Watch this, it's poor. Man, it's a simple little cover for a simple little but punchy and meaningful song, so it works for me.
John, in terms of
symbolism there.
It was announced last Thursday that the song was coming out on the 2nd. Is that right? Yeah, the 2nd. Yesterday.
Yep.
So we had a week to wait, and in that week they did announce they were going to do this mini documentary, 12-minute documentary that came out on Wednesday, on the 1st of November. And you saw it before me because you mentioned it and I went, what are you talking about? You heard the song. I totally forgot. I was flying home at this point. I was obviously on holiday. So I didn't see it till I came in. And when you mentioned that, I went, right, I need to find this on YouTube.
I was counting the minutes down, Steve, if I can see it. I think it was 7 o'clock it dropped.
And
I was on it. You were on the plane.
Yeah, I was on
the plane.
Yeah, I couldn't have seen it. And loved it. Just loved it. Just that moment, the isolated track of the voice. And I thought, oh my God, you better pull that right now, guys, because there's people going to be copying that now and try to put out their own version before the real version. You know what people are like, John? They'll do a rip-off of it and say
absolutely.
this is, just to get hits, or do a live reaction.
First 10 seconds.
Yeah, do a live reaction,
Oh, fuck yeah.
We'll maybe talk about that another day, John, Matthew Perry, but yeah.
I mean, I did a brief little tribute to Matthew, but I don't think 2 minutes can quite do justice to that guy and his impact on the world.
I mean, maybe one. If I was here, I probably would have maybe just dedicated a whole show to him. But
I think you can dedicate a show to Matthew.
But maybe another time. Maybe once the other friends have maybe come out with individual statements rather than just the sort of blanket statement. Maybe we'll talk about that then. But John, I liked this documentary.
It was very well put together.
It was enough. And I'm glad Giles was involved in this as well. It showed you some of the orchestral stuff. Macca narrating saying that they couldn't tell the people obviously playing instruments. It was a Beatles. It's just a Macca thing. Yeah. They must have known, John. Now and then's not that underground. It's not that underground. It's quite a well-known track. And that kind of brings me on to, John, the audio, which was released yesterday. My initial reaction was I was quite underwhelmed by it. But I know the reason for that is because I've been that conditioned to the other versions for the last 15 years. And the first minute of the song I really liked. I thought they were going to keep it simplistic, piano and guitar. And I thought, they're actually going to do maybe a Let It Be sort of vibe to this. I thought, well, that's good. I don't mind that because Free as a Bird and Real Love were different as well. So this will be different again. And then after the minute, the orchestra kicks in, the harmonies kick in, and then we get Ringo doing the backing song. Now and then. And I thought, what the hell is going on here?
I didn't hear that, Stephen. My initial listen was on my phone.
Yeah.
And look, as good as these speakers are and phones now, they've came on a long way in at least the last 10 years.
My biggest problem was that I was expecting that I don't want to lose you bit coming in. And
that's a big bugbear for a lot of people, that middle 8 being taken out.
Yeah, because it's quite repetitive, it's just...
But it's the abuse you, Stephen, I think, is that line, I think it was concerns.
It did not sit well with Mac, I can imagine.
I think he's worried about how the modern audience will take that and how the losers... Who've got a raging boner for
told Lennon. You, Lennon, an evil man, abuse you.
Not realising that he's actually singing in sort of past tense and talking about how he's grown as a human being, as an individual, and became a better man.
I don't know how you take it, John, but I took it that it's an apology to Paul in terms of maybe the way he treated him and mentally abusing him. Absolutely. I think Lennon could be like that. I think Harrison could be like that as well, but particularly Lennon with McCartney. Really playing mind gymnastics with McCartney around about 69, 70 and really getting him so wound up they had to pull his glasses down and go, hey, it's me. We had to remind him because I think he did rile him at times and I think it was deliberate. I think
even after Stephen, as I says, with the songs on Imagine.
Yeah.
The feud, the back and forth, Beatle Ed, he's number 5 or something in Sweden. He was quite a cutting and cruel guy at times. Yeah. But there was a soft side to him. Obviously, he'd been hewn from his life experiences.
Yeah.
He was a very troubled guy. He had a horrendous upbringing with his mother, getting her back in his life and then losing her. Yeah. That damages someone emotionally. His father leaving him, then wanting to come back in when he was famous.
But Paul knew all this. Paul knew him best. And, the fact that Paul loves the guy says it all. And there's no hard feelings there. And when you think about it, Macca had more hard feelings towards Michael Jackson than what he did to Paul McCartney in regards to the ownership of Lennon McCartney songs. So you know where Macca's coming from. He knew John. He knew him better than everyone. And I think he even credits the song, and rightly so, because it is a written by John Lennon song. for the introduction on the premiere that dropped earlier today.
I've still not seen that introduction. I'm going to have to go back and watch it.
And Peter Jackson, obviously talking about Peter Jackson's involvement, and Peter not really wanting to do a music video. He's never done a music video. I sense the pressure that would have brought, but in terms of the technology we saw in the video, I don't think he could have anybody else do the video and pull off the way he did.
It was brilliant. Stephen, I says to you, there is some cheesy moments in the video.
Yeah.
We're not going to lie. And I love that. I love the Hello Goodbye stuff. I was obsessed with that song for a long time. Still am. But certainly the video, the whole heel stamping, John clearly needing to wear glasses. He's not wearing the glasses. You can actually tell just looking at him that his eyes are gone. Because he's like that, glazed, and he's doing all this, and he's doing the twist. I love that shit. That's the hey la, hey but hello. That's that bit when they're taking the
George
instruments
dropping
away.
the shirt down at I love that, the little dance he does.
So that's cheesy.
Yeah.
Even in the context of Hello Goodbye. But when you put it into this song, which is quite a somber and fucking, I don't know, other real kind of backdrop. It's quite an emotional song, singing about long lost friends, talking about a guy that's been dead for nearly 50 years. Is that right? 50? I need to think about that now.
43 years.
43 years.
John
not
was
as long as
talking
50.
about,
Yeah, John Lennon, so it's a long time since that guy's walked to earth, and you've got his old friends singing back and forth to him. You've got his former bandmate and friend as well, Richard, singing back and forth. It's quite a unique vibe they've went for on this song, and then you've got him dancing and stuff like that. But in the main, it worked.
I mean, we'll get into obviously the video in more in depth in a moment, John. But I think you're absolutely right. It did work, but we just to sort of put everyone in the picture where we were, sort of our minds were. John and I spoke last night. Came round for a packet of cigarettes, by the way.
I don't smoke. I have to stress.
And neither do I. So what was the cigarettes all about?
For a family member
from duty free.
Who does smoke.
And I didn't go through duty free. You can't catch me now.
I wish I could go through duty free to get my hands on the best deals for cologne.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a fucking cologne. I'm part of the fragrance world now. You're in my world now, Grandma.
Yeah. John, we were talking briefly last night. No, it wasn't a great conversation, but basically, how did you feel about it? Yeah. Not really sure. Listen, I'm going to give it more of a listen, all that kind of thing.
I'd only listened to it twice through my phone, and it just does not do a song justice. Listening, you need to have high quality speakers that can really deliver the nuance and the denseness of a song. Only when I put my headphones on, I listen to it in my earbuds. I've got AirPod Pro 2s, noise cancellation, get the sound out, and just sat at one with it. Listened to it numerous times, get a good set of headphones with Dolby Atmos, and I listened to it again, and I think in subsequent listens, I think I've listened to this song about 30 times.
That's incredible, John.
In the last 2 days between the video and the actual audio.
I've listened to it maybe about 10, 15 times.
I listened to it a lot.
I thought it was a lot, but you're
ahead of me there. A lot.
But that's not a bad thing.
Hell of a lot.
It's not a bad thing, but...
and I like it now, I really do. It's growing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I said to you last night, this is a day before the video dropped, I said, I'm going to wait till the video drops because my past experience of listening to a Beatles song audio was Freeze a Bird in 95 in my lifetime. I was 19 I was, and I listened to it on Radio 1, and it was a good build-up and all that, but I found the song was a little bit underwhelming at the time. Then I saw the video with it, and I love Freeze a Bird. I do. I love the video for it. It's one of the best music videos, not just one of the best Beatles music videos. One of the
all the little
Joe
Easter eggs.
Pitka, I think the director was. Oh, incredible video. Really, really well put together. The story of the Beatles all in 3 minutes.
Steve, it's the moment where Lennon's looking at the ambulance, and it's a payback to a day in the life.
Oh, it's fantastic for its day.
He blew his mind out in a car. I think that's what that was about.
Yeah.
Just fucking incredible little details in there. It's just, as you say, it's the entire backstory of the Beatles in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was incredible how he pulled it off, and just the way it was from a sort of perspective of a bird.
Yeah.
And that's my point in this. I said, I'll wait till I see the Now and Then video. And then, because, John, a Beatles single is enough. Don't get me wrong, the audio is enough. But nowadays, not that you have to rely on visuals, I just think it accompanies what they do and what Peter Jackson, not Peter Martin, Peter Jackson does.
Peter McLaughlin.
George Martin. George Jackson. I think just what he does and incorporate both these talented people together. And I thought I'll wait till then because I know it's going to be special.
The message that they're trying to present in this song in a visual format as well. So you're getting it in your ears, you're also getting it in your eyes, and you're getting the full picture. And when you see the young and the old, the contrast, young Macca, old Macca, John looking across into a sunset, and then the younger, other real forms of the Beatles appear. Seeing them interacting, which was really well done, Stephen. I says to you, the rotoscoping was incredible.
Yep.
You've got John looking over his shoulder at Ringo, who's the older Ringo.
That was the bit that got me, John. Yeah. It was. I mean, there was a lot of bits that got me. There was a bit George smiles, just a smile. Yeah. It just reassured me that it wasn't a miserable time for him. You could see he was enjoying it. Both him and Paul were smiling at each other while they were strumming on the guitars, and I thought, this is what I wanted to see from the anthology. I wanted to see more of that footage because I know there must have been a lot of footage, and who owns that, I'm not sure. I don't know who was doing the filming. I
says that to you, Stephen, right away. I noticed the scene with George outside with the jacket.
Talking about Jeff's computer.
I'm like, that's new footage.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I says to you, I want every single shot that's ever been filmed of the Beatles out.
Especially that time, because
get it out.
I was so fascinated with the sort of breakdown of how they created Freeze a Bird, how they created Real Love, because of the sort of primitive software at that time in 94, 95 and 96. As you recall, everything was chunky, big monitors, big system units, and the software wasn't that great either. And I thought, I'm just interested to see how it was done, how Jeff Lynne managed to do that. And it's so primitive now when you listen to it. They had to sort of, try and fade out the piano, but at the cost of fading out Lennon's voice because they were locked in together. Macca having to sort of impersonate Lennon just to sort of give it some depth, and that kind of thing. I thought, that's just only Jeff Lynne would be able to have the patience to do something like that. Now, what Peter Jackson's Mal software is it called?
Yeah, it's astonishing.
Even to this day, Mal is still assisting the Beatles.
That's cool.
And I think,
cool little reference.
And I think John, Jackson's Get Back was where this all started. Yeah. We did the reaction for Get Back a couple of years ago, and I remember, I don't know if it was you or I that said it, getting quite upset because I thought, this is the last thing.
It was you, Stephen.
This is going to be the last thing we see. How wrong was I?
But
because of that Get Back documentary, this was possible to do.
And Stephen, God bless Peter Jackson for his work in revamping all that footage and colorising it and getting it all graded perfectly and getting the songs and the audio separated, giving that to Giles Martin to do what he's doing now, remastering all of these songs. Even Love Me Do, that came as a sort of B-side to now and then. Incredible to listen to how they've separated those early Beatles songs, because I know we're getting more in the Blue and Red albums. You shouldn't be able to separate audio tracks from a mono track or instruments and vocals from a mono track. And I think Giles admitted even he's surprised at the work they've done. So God bless Peter Jackson for making this all possible, Stephen.
Isn't it great though that Peter Jackson's team and what they can do are collaborating with Giles Martin and his team?
Yeah.
And anything's possible.
Stephen, it just makes sense for the Beatles though. The Beatles were always a band who were on the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
They were creating the flanger effects, I think that's what you call it, flanger. Backwards sort of vocals.
Regina,
and
phalange.
Doing the sort of, they were always at the forefront.
Yeah.
The reverse guitar work, all of the stuff they were doing.
Tomorrow Never Knows, playing with one chord in an entire song. Bringing in the sort of, would you call India a Far East country? I don't think you would. But bringing in Indian and exotic instruments into Western songs. Yeah.
I don't think it had been done before. Maybe Brian Jones had done it with the Stones.
I think Stones and the Kinks had done some things, but I think
at the forefront.
To make it as popular, it needed someone like the Beatles to sort of highlight it,
So it makes sense that they're still, even now, posthumously for two of them, posthumously for George Martin, his sons carrying on the baton, that they are still, even in 2023, at the forefront of technology and pushing AI to create an incredible song like this. Stephen, in terms of the video, we just watched it again. The ending is the ending actual shot, the final shot, if I can speak the King's English, was the moment that actually caught me. where they're bowing and they start fading away, and you've just got the Beatles as a symbol. The actual logo, and I liked that logo. I was going to put it on the thumbnail, but I couldn't think of a way to make it work. The drum kit and just the mics. So I think that's quite a powerful message, Stephen, that even when they're gone, they will still be there. The brand will be there. The pop cultural influence of this group of these four guys will always be there. They'll be ever present.
The question, once
it was fucking sad.
Obviously, Paul and Ringo are in their 80s now, and
it fucking scares me, Stephen.
I just, I don't really want to talk about that. It's a bit of a Debbie Downer, but
but it's when Mackie was sitting in the sort of orchestral moment, and the solo's playing, and he's just looking, and it's John dancing about, and he's kind of smiling.
It's as if he sees him there.
That worried me when I seen him, because he is looking older, and I'm like, fucking hell.
I mean, but what I'm trying to say is, without saying it, if you know what I mean. I know that Sean obviously is here to the Lennon estate. Obviously, Yoko's not in the best of health conditions, sadly. Danny and Olivia, Danny obviously will eventually be looking after George's side of things, and I would assume probably Macca's son and daughters will be doing the same, and it just makes me wonder how it will be managed going forward into the future, the Beatles legacy, and how they'll carry that on. Because, John, I think this technology from Peter Jackson's opened up probably another 4 or 5 decades of work that can possibly be done, and not AI stuff. I don't mean AI stuff. I mean existing material, and enhancing what's already there. I don't want to see the regurgitation, because I think that's the disservice.
And you don't want to make it clinical. You don't want to take out the feeling and the humanity in the songs by constantly, we can do this, we can clean this up, and then you lose the performance. Because I was thinking that.
Glass.
I mean,
move that glass breaking.
No, but I was listening to Let It Be, Stephen. I was listening to the 2021 remaster. Remaster. I was about to say reissue, but that's not correct. And I was listening to live performances. I think it may have been Don't Let Me Down, and I'm thinking Lennon's maybe not pronouncing things a little bit clearly there. I wonder if they could go in and clean that up with AI and make that pop a little. But then I caught myself and I'm like, nope, because then you're taking the humanity of the performance actually out of the song, and it's important to retain those little imperfections. Because there was a lot of talk about that when they were remastering in 2009, or they've cleaned this up, they've made that a little bit too clinical, and we've lost some of the grit that made the songs what they were in the 60s. So you need to watch, but I agree with you, Stephen, that even like the early, what's that one called? It's not In Spite of All the Danger, is it? Is it In Spite of All the Danger? In spite of all the danger, talk of people actually comment that they should go back and clean those songs up, the really early stuff that was done before the Beatles were even the Beatles properly. There's so much potential with this technology now, and that Beatles catalogue going back to the early 60s.
Free Cool Cats,
all the sort of stuff that was really primitive for them, but they can give it a new lease of life and bring it to a new audience. Because, Stephen, let's be honest, there'll be younger people maybe getting into the Beatles for the first time, and they'll listen to some of that earlier stuff and
John,
think that's a bit primitive sounding.
I mean, I knew about
Stephen, it was me, I was more drawn to the later stuff initially.
Strawberry Fields Forever, songs like that were the ones that I grew up between maybe the age of 5 and maybe 10, 12. Just the ones that were at the forefront. Love Me Do, just the singles, that type of thing. That boy snoring over there. And I just felt that, when I think they released the Beatles at the BBC, I got the cassette of that in 93. It was prior to the Blue and Red albums coming out in CD, I'm sure. And I got this and I thought, this is fantastic. A great live album. I don't really know a lot of these songs. I know there's a lot of cover songs in there because it was at that period where they didn't have enough of their own material. They were singing other songs, but I just loved the sort of the vibe between these four guys, and I was like, this is really good. I like, you can tell how they were so popular and so...
Songs like Youngblood.
Yeah, just...
George doing his sort of, homage to... Is it Carol Perkins?
The sun is fading away. What's that called again? That's the end of the day.
Ain't nothing shaking but the leaves on the tree.
What's that called again? I was just singing.
What was it you were singing?
The sun is fading away. As the June light turns to moonlight, I'll be on my way. That's it. I'll be on my way.
There's so many.
Yeah, I mean that was the one that stood out.
You can go back and clean them up.
And I just felt, both volumes. Volume 2, obviously.
Stephen, obviously, I bought Volume 2
as
soon as it dropped, and I think I got it round about the same time as Band in the Run.
That's right, you did,
They remastered that.
Yep.
And I love the different variations of songs. I think, God, what's the one I always listen to? And I've not listened to it in a while, and I actually have to go back and listen to it. I used to be able to play it. George played like a triplet chord solo. God, what was it called? I'll not get it.
Yeah.
I'll need to look it up.
Yeah, I remember there was a particular song you used to play quite a bit, John, and you learned it.
Yeah, I learned a hell of it. Yeah, it was Youngblood.
Youngblood,
Yeah. I love Youngblood.
Yeah, and that's the point, John, we're trying to make. You know, where does it go from here? You know, and history repeats itself.
Sure to fall in love with you.
Yeah, and I think those 92, 93 reissues of the BBC stuff, we'll see that come around again for another generation, and then it all kicks off again. The Red and Blue album will come out again for another generation.
I'm looking forward to that, Stephen. I shot on that in a live show when I covered this song last week. I'm like, no interest in that. I
don't really know the official history of the Red and Blue albums. I don't think they were ever John, Paul, George and Ringo greenlit.
Well, certainly George didn't, I tell you that, because he was just non-existent.
And I used to laugh at your man in Central Park. I've got your Blue album, because I thought that's not fucking official greatest hit, because they don't do a greatest hits. No. And I just thought, what a kick in the teeth that is to Lennon.
Well, George had no songs on it, or very limited.
Old Brown Shoe something.
Yeah.
And I think that was...
well, they're writing it now.
That was a bit it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was terrible, yeah.
So the track listing's been revamped. They've done up all the younger, or earlier stuff that was put out.
Yeah.
And I'm buzzing to hear that, so I'm actually looking forward. And then obviously they've put Now and Then at the end, so that's
Not
a perfect
to get yourself a record player, John, and get some
Steve,
vinyl.
I just says that to you, looking at the cover for Now and Then. I like the vinyl cover.
Yeah.
I'm actually really tempted to get into vinyl.
Yeah.
I've heard it's warmer, richer, and it's actually the best way to listen to music. So
I mean, I'm obviously at an age that remembers vinyl, John. I had Prince Charming, Adam Nyance. I broke it. A record breaker. Yep. And I had quite a few songs, a few records, albums as well on record, and it's just, there's no better feeling. It's one of those things that just having that physical copy and smelling the inside sleeve and stuff. It's a weird thing to do, but we all do it.
No, Stephen, I loved that.
Same with books, you smell it.
The book, you get a video game, you open it up. Back in the day when you had the little guide and stuff, you'd smell it, and it had a smell of freshness. Stephen, that's nothing to be ashamed about. $1 trillion company Apple, tap into that. Yep. They're all about the packaging, the sensory sort of vibe of opening it up, the smell of it, the touch of it, the look of it. That's all every bit as important as the product.
It is the experience,
It's the experience.
And sometimes that's lost in digital, isn't it?
It is, yeah, Stephen. That's why I agree with the likes of Tarantino when they talk about physical copies of film and stuff like that. You do need it.
Yeah.
Because if there's a solar flare.
It's part of the experience, I think. Yeah, well, this is a thing. Exactly, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I'm not, because I've got all the Beatles songs.
Yeah. You've got them hard copy, the
so
2009 stuff,
I'm good. I just need to get a Sony Walkman and I'm all right. I'll be walking about like fucking Star-Lord.
Is there any moments in the video, John, that stood out for you though?
A lot, Stephen. A lot. The whole goodbye stuff again. Ringo's playing the drums. They're clearing up. You mentioned it. John walks past Paul. Paul's older. Walks behind him. He's playing the bass. He gives a wink.
Yeah.
Just some great moments. The end shot, as I says, when the bow. Stephen, I love the solo in this song. I really do.
Looking at the sunset, I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a stunning.
Yeah.
I
don't know if that was real or not. I can't remember if that's actual footage and it's been cleaned up, or if
I want to say if it isn't real, or if it is real, it may be the. Did he not go to Hawaii?
Well, he went.
Bermuda or something.
Yeah, he did globetrot, John.
Yeah,
Japan,
I think maybe Bermuda or something.
Yeah, South Africa. He went quite a lot of places.
Could be a shot.
And he was supposed to be locked up in the Dakota. He wasn't. He was doing a world tour.
Oh, that's nonsense. I know he went to Japan a few times.
Yeah.
Probably an actual shot, and it's been enhanced with AI to boot. But it's really well implemented. The shot of him, 79, you said, with the safari sort of get up.
Yeah.
He's got the beard, he's got the glasses, he's looking dapper.
Yeah, he's looking really good.
And he's smiling. That's a standout moment. There's so many moments, Stephen, where you've got the blend of old and young. You've got George, you've got John in their younger forms. You've got Ringo and you've got Macca in their older forms, and they're sort of singing the backing vocals. Just seeing that sort of, not oxymoronic, but the split, it's really poignant, and it plays a lot into the actual title of the song and what you're hearing in the lyrics. Now and then, I need you, I miss you. Singing to that point, and you're seeing it as a reference, the old and the young, and it hits home that this is the last Beatles song.
Yeah.
And it's fucking powerful, Steve, when you see an 80-something Ringo and an 80-something Macca with a 25 and 24, 23-year-old George.
It was, you know.
And they're mingling and sharing the same screen. It's fucking powerful.
I mean, obviously, John will be forever young, you know.
They will.
And I just think that was the shot that got me, was the four of them all on the screen at the one time. I know, obviously, it's rotoscope and it's cheesy.
Oh, but it's still cool.
It was just, there was a part of cheesiness that I liked about the Beatles, where they weren't ashamed to clown around and they weren't afraid to act silly at times and not fall for the game, as they say, showbiz and all that. And that's what makes them so likeable, that they were so in control of the situation for the whole time and never forgot who they were, you know. And you know how sometimes, you know, and it's sad, you know, but John walked about New York as if he was an ordinary person, and he wasn't an ordinary person. Far from it. He was a living legend, and
like
sadly,
that shot from the Mind Games,
the Mind Games,
era, when he's kicking about with the black hat, and he smiles at the camera, and again he's looking cool as hell with the hair, the sunglasses. I like that. I like the shot at the end where it's spiraling to them getting ever younger.
Yeah,
I may be wrong, Stephen. Was Free as a Bird, did it not home in a photograph of John, and it was him as a young kid?
Four of them.
It fingered up to them being older.
The four of them were on the mantelpiece.
Yeah. Did they do something similar with that? Where it was like a sort of montage of different images? I may be wrong, but it felt like a good bookend anyway, because it's now and then, you're seeing the now, you're seeing the then. It ends with a young, well, it doesn't end with them bowing, but it ends with a young, very young John. Yeah. And I thought that was a nice touch from Macca, a guy who sometimes gets criticised for being a little bit egomaniacal in the way that he likes to rewrite things and stuff like that. To give John his place as the last, and obviously he did it with Free as a Bird as well, made by John Lennon.
I've had discussions with people, I'll call it discussions, with a lightsaber, where people have said, you know, obviously Paul fans, you know, and saying things like, John wouldn't be anywhere without Paul, blah, blah, blah. And my response to them is, if Paul heard you saying that, he'd slap you.
Yeah.
Nobody slags his mate. And it was the same with John. Nobody slags Paul.
Steve, I've had this conversation.
It's all right for them to do it to each other, but they'll defend each other if it's anyone else.
The Beatles wouldn't be an entity. I had this conversation last night without any of the four. I mean, I've spoken about this before. Could the Beatles have been a band with just John and Paul? No. They probably could have been, but it would have been very different. It wouldn't have been the Beatles, that is multi-generational, ever-present pop cultural icon. It wouldn't have been that Beatles. You take any one of them out and you're losing something tangible. Certainly with Paul and John, none of those two could have survived on their lonesome in a band. They needed each other. They were like symbiotic. I just think
that, you know, the four of them, I know that obviously John and Paul were the sort of forefront, the main contributors to the band, if you like, in terms of songwriting. But there's something missing if you don't have George there. There's something missing if you don't have Ringo there.
It's the energy, Steve.
Just their vibe.
We spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah.
What I thought initially was maybe the issue with this song and why it wasn't immediately resonating like maybe Real Love and Free as a Bird would.
Yeah. I mean,
it was the energy, not being physically in the room.
And I think it was important for Paul to have George in there as well.
Yeah.
You know, because he could have easily have took that 95 recording and went, you know something, I'm going to put this out as Lennon and McCartney, and not the Beatles, just Lennon and McCartney, and he could have done that. You know, I'm glad he didn't.
I like the little George moments,
but George is a big part of the Beatles in terms of personality, his input as well. He wrote some of the greatest songs when he was in the Beatles, as well as having probably arguably one of the best solo albums as well. Ringo he's the glue for me. He's the sort of voice of reason between the other three. When the other three are maybe falling apart, he's the one that pulls them together.
Less ego as well.
Yeah, and you need that.
A lot of ego with John and Paul, and to a degree George as well.
Yeah.
Whereas Ringo, I'm not saying he was egoless, but he had a much smaller ego than those three.
He was more grounded, He was not just by height, but he was more grounded.
We were laughing at that in the video as well, even though Ringo's the smallest.
It's funny, John, because when Paul and Ringo come on the screen to sing and they're standing next to each other and Ringo's kind of doing a dance and Paul kind of just looks as if he's annoyed, and I'm like, he can't be annoyed at him because he's not really there because I'm not nice. But it has that
There's
vibe.
There's little moments like that, Stephen, I liked in the video though, little glances that were just really well implemented with rotoscoping, and it just felt like they were there, they were together in spirit. And I thought that was an important message to convey because they weren't. I says that to you. That may have been an issue with the song. John's obviously dead. George is no longer with us, and we're dealing with something from 30 years ago, his input. Ringo's in the LA.
Yeah.
And I don't know where Macca was when they did it. Probably New York.
Well, you mentioned that, John.
London.
I was kind of having my doubts about the song yesterday prior to the video's release, and we'd only had the audio track. You did say there might have just been that bit missing, obviously, with energy and bouncing
Freeze are
ideas.
real love. They're in the room, the three of them.
Yeah.
And John's there in voice.
Yeah.
And they've got that energy, that ability to jam with each other and make things up on the spot. And it's more cohesive, it's more energetic. And we spoke about Real Love, Stephen. For me, still the best of the three. And you can feel the energy, the little guitar parts.
Oh, that's fantastic, yeah.
And the way that they're bouncing off each other, it feels
helps.
like a Beatles song.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. And to me, we spoke about it before we came on. That is one of my favourite Beatles songs, period. Out of all the whole catalogue, Real Love, it stands up against the actual OG songs. Yeah. It's that fucking
The YouTube version is good because that's slightly different to the anthology one that came out at the time, which was quite sped up. And Lennon's voice is quite chipmunky because it was a slower recorded song that they sped up to make it more poppy, which meant the voice had to be more higher. They sorted that in the YouTube upload that they did, I think 2015. They did Free as a Bird and Real Love. I think Giles remixed them, and changed it slightly and added some new sort of tracks with drums and stuff like that and guitar solos, and it's enhanced it, you know. And I think you could get back to what you were saying about this now and then technology. I hope they do that with Real Love, but not to change the song.
Not just the vocals,
just to enhance it, make it crisper.
Well, Stephen, I sent you a link to Free as a Bird. Someone's done it, and it's obviously not going to be the standard of Peter Jackson, but just his version. It's cleaned up. Peter Martin. It's cleaned up Lennon's vocal, and it's not as jarring to hear the really crisp studio quality vocals of Macca and obviously George and the backing stuff, and the sort of crummier demo recording of Lennon's vocals. Just hearing that crispness, the cleanness of Lennon's vocal track just makes it flow better.
It does, yeah.
It sounds better on the ears, and I'm sure that will be done. I think we're coming up. Was it 94, the anthology?
Well, they started it in 95. I think the tape and all that was 94, and obviously
I think we'll do it as an anniversary for the anthology. I think those two songs will come out to commemorate.
I'd like to see the Beatles anthology special edition, you know, where they add more to it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
You think about it, since the anthology came out, we've had Let It Be Naked, we've had the Love album, we've had the remastered stuff. Now and Then's came out.
The story, the chapter of Giles Martin and his relationship with the band.
Yep.
And that has to be told. Yeah. It's a new chapter. So I absolutely agree. They have to do it before the two remaining Beatles get too far on in age and can't really contribute. And just hearing from Sean and guys like that, they're cool fucking guys who have got their own story to tell. I'd like to hear their story. Even Julian, getting him in, because he's a cool fucking guy as well.
I think Julian, we were talking about this the other day. I think it might have been my mum was talking to her about it, and she says, is Julian not getting involvement? I says, I don't think so at this stage, but I think perhaps maybe once Yoko's no longer with us, I think Sean might feel he's got a little bit more freedom. I think he's maybe just a bit stuck in the middle at the moment. Yeah. But I think once he's got full control, I think Julian, he'll rightly so get him in part of the, obviously, into the estate, because it's only right, you know, it's his son, you know, and Julian, I think that's the least that they could do for Julian as well, because he's always been on the outside. It's a shame, you know, I like Julian. Comes across as a stand-up guy, and for everything he went through, you know. A
great artist in his own right.
Yeah.
A great artist.
Great photographer, great painter,
And a great speaker.
Yeah.
Like listening to the guy talking.
Yeah.
But Stephen, the song itself, I mean, in terms of the actual stuff going on in the song, I think a lot of it is subtle. It's not as in your face and assaulting as maybe Jeff Lynne's. And that's not me being disparaging towards Jeff Lynne, but Jeff Lynne and ELO have got a very particular style of music and a particular style of producing music.
John, it's funny you should say that.
And I like it.
Yeah. You talk about Jeff Lynne, and he always has a mark on that. It's not a deliberate thing for him, it's just his style. When you listen to Won't Back Down from Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne's in the background there. I know
someone said that it's not as Wilbury.
Yeah.
Travelling Wilbury like.
Roy Orbison's You've Got It. I can hear fucking Jeff Lynne in the back. Shut the fuck up, Jeff. I'm trying to sing here. You can just hear it, and it's not a bad. I love Jeff Lynne.
I love his songs as well, Steve.
He's a great producer. He's a great singer, artist, writer. Fantastic guy. Very down to earth. If you've ever watched the documentary when he was getting invited to George's house, I can't remember who the mutual friend was, but they had a meal. It was Jeff and this guy, and when they were leaving, they were in the car park and they were just about part ways. And the mutual friend said, "Oh, and by the way, Jeff, George Harrison was asking for you." What do you mean, by the way, Jeff? George Harrison? He's left that to the last thing at night.
You fucking bring in as a footnote. That's the main course, mate.
So just a down-to-earth guy, And again, I've got to make that clear. I love Jeff Lynne. He could maybe reduce his fucking ticket prices.
Yeah, he could, because
I know he's got an orchestra to pay.
I would like to go and see him. To be
cheap
fair.
Seats are like £125.
But the show's incredible, Steve, and I've seen snippets of his show in London anyway. I don't know if that's what we get in shitey Glasgow, but because I know they like to put on a premium experience for the Londoners. After all, city of culture in the United Kingdom, isn't it? Fucking bollocks.
We were once.
I know, how did that work out?
We've lost
for us?
all our culture.
Fucking right we have, if we ever had it. But I would like to go and see him. I would.
Stole someone else's.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's.
Yeah.
We stole a
just look at the street names.
Of course.
Yeah.
The least said about that, the better, Stephen.
Yeah.
But it's more subtle.
Yeah.
The producing, the mix. And I think that's Giles Martin.
Yeah.
Because I've listened to a lot of the Beatles remasters, and it is very subtle. The way he's handling that very deftly. The way he's bringing the tracks in, it's really well mixed. It's well arranged.
What's your initial
in your
thoughts of Giles Martin, John? When you
initially, I wasn't having them, Steve.
No, I was like,
at all.
Sit down, boy.
He thinks he's George. He's talking about working with the Beatles like he was in the room in the 60s.
He was born in 69. Yeah.
But now I've warmed a lot to him.
Yeah,
he gives me Christopher Nolan vibes.
He does.
But he's really, he just comes across as a really intelligent guy. He knows what he's doing. He belongs in that fucking studio.
Yep.
And it's obviously tangible when you actually listen to the songs. You can hear that he knows what he's doing because the mixes. And look, I listened to the Revolver one when it came out, and I was like, don't know about this. I'm going to go back and listen to the 2009 one. I quickly went back to the 2022 version because it is better. It's subtle, but it's better. So you can hear that subtlety in this song, the way he's mixed it, the way the instruments are there. The bass isn't overpowering. The piano isn't I like the fact I've relayed the piano track. That's not the original piano that John played on in 1979. It's a new piano. I don't even see. We are Scottish. I can understand
Stone gamer.
Yeah, no one can understand this Stone Gamer. It's a fucking problem. I've tried to slow down. I maybe have to start talking like this. See if people can perhaps they'll not understand.
I can't understand it. He's saying that at all.
Yes, exactly, Stephen. What was I saying? Yeah, just the mix is very subtle.
Yeah.
And it's not overpowering. And they've treated John's vocal track with respect. That's front and centre. The backing there. It just feels like a more traditional Beatles sound mix to me. I like it.
Are you rating it, John?
Am I right, Stephen, if we're rating it? What system?
Well, I think we'll rate it like we do a movie.
So out of 10?
We're going to take it as a whole entity here, visually and audio, and just as a whole, how you feel about it, and that can be the rating, rather than as a separate. The song's great, the video's really good.
Well, if I'm rating
kind of
Real Love
together.
and Freeze a Bird, I'd rate Freeze a Bird as like an 8 out of 10. Whole experience. Real Love, I'd give it a 9.5 because I think it's a very good song.
Highly rated, yeah.
That version you're talking about, I have to say the Chipmunk version a little bit less. Because you're right.
Yeah.
This one, I'd probably rate this. Where would I put it above Freeze a Bird?
I wouldn't.
I think I'd give it level pegging, 7.5 out of 10.
It's just, I've had the same experience, John, with this song as I did with Freeze a Bird. As much as I love Freeze a Bird, initially I had to listen to it. And then once the video dropped, I just liked it even more. Similar to this song as well. I think, maybe about 8 out of 10 for Freeze a Bird, 8 out of 10 for Now and Then. And I would say probably a 9.5 for Real Love as well. There's something about that's just a bouncier tune. It's very uplifting, and harmonies and all that are just fantastic. I get with this one, it's a little bit more. I don't know. Yeah, it's somber, John, but I think they're restricted as well. Location-wise, Paul's in one country, Ringo's in another. George is no longer with us. We're relying on George's rhythm guitar, I think it is.
It's very good.
Yeah. And as much as Macca is paying homage with the slide guitar, and it's a fantastic slide guitar, it's not George. It's still good. Don't get me wrong, it's fantastic. You talked about the solo, John. The solo is really good.
It really is. I'm warming to it, Stephen. I'm warming to the whole song
But
and
you
the
can tell
backing
it's Macca.
vocals.
Yeah.
From Because. I really like the way they've constructed it. But you're right, it's not George. Stephen George never rated himself as a guitarist.
Crazy.
Which is fucking mind-blowing to me, because I think it may have been Julian Lennon. Was it Julian Lennon?
It did Saltwater.
Saltwater. And George actually wrote the solo.
Yeah, he didn't play it. Yeah,
he didn't play it, and I still could recognise it was George
John,
Harrison.
Because I don't know if you were familiar with Saltwater, but we played it, and you went, that sounds like
George Harrison.
And then we looked it up. It wasn't George, but he did.
He fucking wrote it.
He wrote that, and you knew that.
There's just something about his guitar playing. The volume, the clean boost, something about his style, and you hear it on Real Love. He's just got it dialed in. His tone's special.
Yeah.
And that's why I never understood his lack of rating himself as a guitarist, because he's got his own tone. You can hear it.
About with. Probably
fucking
like
better
Clapton.
than Eric Clapton. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. He's better than Eric Clapton. Fuck
I don't
Eric
like
Clapton.
Clapton's solo and on Let It Be. I don't.
It's like,
Is it Let
John?
It Be?
Yeah.
I don't like it. I just don't like it.
He obviously did While My Guitar Gently Weeps as well, which is actually decent to be fair.
Decent, yeah.
But it's like John said in the Get Back documentary, you're in the Beatles. Eric Clapton isn't in the fucking Beatles. So stop fucking talking about Eric. You're better than Eric, George.
Yeah.
Stone Gamers asked us to say water bottle just once.
Okay, I'll say it first. Water bottle.
Water bottle. Water bottle.
Water
bottle.
Yeah, water bottle.
Purple burglar alarm. There you go. Purple burglar alarm.
Our accent at times can be quite.
It is. It's my accent, Stephen.
Mad.
Yours is, I think, better than mine.
I don't know.
I've clearly got the nasally Kermit the Frog mixed with Glaswegian, and it's just
Don't
makes
get
me
any more
completely
nasally than me.
Oh, I don't know about that, Stephen. I'm sitting next to you, and I'm telling you, I'm fucking nasally. I'm not Hugh Keevins level of nasally, but I am nasally. Stephen,
Our Dick Donnelly from Dundee.
fucking, he was on the night. Fucking absolute clown of a guy.
Yeah.
Fucking joke. No, it's not a clown though, this song. What are you rating it, Stephen? Did you rate it? 7.5?
It sounds quite low, doesn't it? But it's not. No, it's not.
It's still
really,
very good.
It's still very good. Yeah. And
very good.
and listen, it'll probably change. When the Freezer Bird came out, I was like, it's a bit underwhelming. Then I grew to love it. I really became obsessed
the
with
moment
it.
I like this song? When you've got the vocals isolated with John at the start, and then the bass comes in, and then the drums come in. I love it when they do
It's
that.
a gradual thing, yeah. Yep.
Blur released a song fairly recently.
Yep.
I'm forgetting what the name of it is.
It was the Narcissist.
The Narcissist, and they do a similar
it's
thing.
fantastic.
Where it comes in, and it's Damon singing, and then the guitar comes in, and then the drums come in, and then it goes up a level again.
They did that
when
with
they layer it.
Concert for George with Something.
Yeah.
It started off with just Macca on the ukulele, and then it just build up to obviously what we know.
Even Get Back, I was listening to Get Back, and it's actually it's an alternative version. It actually made me I always forget this guy's name. Glenn Jones version. Yeah. One of the few versions that's better than the other ones.
Yeah.
And it's when they go back at the end, when you're low neck sweater, Get Back Loretta, where they stop it and he goes, ooh, doo-doom, doo-doom, doom, dun, 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 dun. They build it up again. I love it when they do that.
It's great, yeah.
And they did it in this song, and I liked it a lot. So it's warming on me. Initially, I wasn't really having it.
It's
I thought it was a bit
7.5 this week, but it might get better.
But the amount of times I'm listening to it tells me it's got re-listenability. So that's obviously a good thing for a song. And just the way they've promoted it, Stephen's been special. It's a special moment for Beatles fans. It's a special moment for music. It's not every day a Beatles song gets released. I was apt, as I says, buzzing for Thursday to come. And then when I was in Thursday, even my car nearly breaking down, and me actually missing it getting played in Radio 2 for the first time, didn't dampen my expectations when I was fucking that kind of night where I've been tripping over words, and is it in spite of all the danger? Fucking clown. I just have nights like that where I can't speak properly.
I'm the same. I was like every
absolute
night with me.
joke.
Yeah. My intro was terrible. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
Fucking hell. I'll do that again. Don't break from the formula, Stephen. You're getting it wrong.
You see what happens when I break from the formula. Welcome on. A day of stuttering, making mistakes. I'm like, just get the first 5 seconds right. And I say, welcome on. I'm like, I'm fucked. It's over. There's no coming back from this. It's over. But I steadied myself, and I actually had the wise words of Gary Neville, something you'll not hear very often. And him speaking about his very early days as a media guy, a figure, a pundit, if you like, speaking to a rugby guy who had been in the punditry business for a long time, and him saying, look, everyone makes mistakes. It's how you recover from it. Don't let it get you down. I carry those words with me.
Carry that weight.
So all in all, Stephen, really special fucking week as a Beatles fan. This is the first time I've properly heard a new Beatles song release. I wasn't aware enough in the mid-90s.
Oh, fair enough. You were only 6, John.
I was fucking very young.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I've got to experience a new Beatles song released, and it's been fucking epic.
I'm in a privileged position that I was on this planet at the same time the 4 of them were all alive.
I never got to experience that.
But yeah, I mean, it's you don't ever take it for granted. You're absolutely right. And going into Thursday, I did think about that. I thought of that generation before me as well. My daughter's a big Beatles fan, and we sat down and we listened to it as well, you know, and she likes it. She rates it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Now and then, but she gives Freeze a Bird and Real Love 10 out of 10 because she really likes them. So it's just thinking about that, you know, and just
the
thinking.
fact that you told me, Stephen, that she came in and immediately put it on.
Yeah,
that tells me the Beatles are...
because it broke at 2:00 and she came out at school at 3. So she said, "Oh, I wish it was at 3:00 or 3:30. It was coming out just so I could listen to it when it actually comes on." I says, "We'll put it on when you come in." I says, "Well, wait, don't worry about it."
That's special. That's the Beatles. Multi-generational, passing of the baton.
John, you see it in these reaction videos as well. I know we're not doing a reaction to it or anything like that.
Yeah, because we get banned. That's the difference.
It's bizarre, but I do like watching reactions and seeing people's emotions to these things just to see if they're in tune with mine, and most of them are. Because if you're a Beatles fan, you understand it. You feel it. You know,
well,
you don't just
twice
listen.
In 3 days, I've been close to crying.
Yeah,
I get quite teary. In the
it's
actual documentary
moment,
and then the actual video, there was moments where it's like,
and I hope it gets to number 1. I really do.
I've got concerns it won't, because Taylor Swift has re-released. She had an issue with a previous manager not allowing her to have the rights to her first few albums.
Right, okay.
And she's rewrote the albums and done like
and when she released this?
It's released. It's been out a week. And I think fucking the whole album's in like the top 20. Hopefully the Beatles.
That?
I know. Hopefully the Beatles can come in.
Fucking best dressed man. I don't want to say anywhere in case I'm offending anyone.
Kazakhstan.
You know what I mean?
You can say Kazakhstan because they dress like shit over there, and I'll say that. I've never been.
A bit like us.
A bit like us, yeah. Sitting with a Patriots hoodie on, no shame. They're fucking garbage. What am I doing wearing this hoodie? They're shit. They're tanking this season. Why am I wearing this hoodie? Because I'm a Patriots fan. That's why. Top 20. I think.
Well, she can go and take a to herself.
Hopefully the Beatles, the power of the Beatles can propel it to number 1 just once at least. Because it'd be great, because obviously the first two, post Beatles releases, didn't go to number 1, didn't they? No,
I think Freeze a Bird was number 2, thanks to Earth Song by Michael Jackson.
Which was a fucking travesty against humanity, because that song is shit.
I think because of...
I remember that song, Stephen, but I don't remember the Beatles songs.
I think Real Love kind of suffered because of it.
Yeah.
A bit like the Solo movie with The Last Jedi, basically, that kind of thing, you know, which was a shame it got to number 6 in the UK. I don't know how they performed in the US, I'm not really sure. Doesn't matter really to us. I just wanted to get to number 1 in the UK because that's what matters to me.
Well, Stephen, I mean, you say that, but really you can't put too much weight on number 1s in the UK, because R.E.M. never get a number 1, and then we've got absolute trash getting to number 1 now, so anybody can get a number 1 in the UK. Where are we from? We are from Glasgow in Scotland.
Which is about 2.5 hours from Liverpool.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And
we're neighbours.
The Beatles, exactly. The Beatles played in Glasgow many a time.
Yeah.
And we were actually in one of the buildings, which was a cinema at the time, where they played the Odeon.
Yeah, the Odeon, yeah.
And what a fucking place that was. Sadly, it's now an office block.
Yeah, and we're maybe about 2.5 hours, bizarrely, from the Mill of Kintyre. So there you are.
Well, Macca,
it's a hard place to get to. You have to go up and down.
That's why Macca went there.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want anyone
annoying him.
Infringing on his...
And some people tried it.
Privacy.
And he was in his dressing gown.
And he was throwing buckets of water at them. And quite fucking right. Well done, Macca.
It might not have been water.
Yeah, exactly. It was a photographer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a photographer, came after him. Can't remember the context of that, but I think it was wanting information. And he wanted to do an interview.
Yeah.
And Macca chased him. And then he actually went back to the main town just down the road and got him back and says, look, I'll do an interview with you and I'll allow you to take photographs. On
destroy those ones, yeah.
On one condition, you destroy those ones and it's on my fucking terms, bitch. And we got the interview. So I like Macca's steadfastness. I like the fact he doesn't suffer fools. None of the Beatles did.
No.
And that's, I think, the best way to be in life. Well, I digress, Stephen. Have we got anything else to say?
I think we're done.
We're going around over an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty good, yeah.
I feel like we could have spoke even longer.
Yeah.
I could speak all fucking day about this song. I really could. I just keep listening to it.
I don't think it'll be the last time we talk about the Beatles, John, anyway.
No, it won't. Of course it won't.
I mean, on the show.
No, I know. That's what I'm talking about.
Things just happen all the time. That's
they do.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting the Blue and Red albums.
Yep.
So we'll discuss that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts, though, on Now and Then? As a release, as a full package, the 12-minute mini documentary, the song, the video that's come out today. What's your thoughts on it? How do you rate it? Thoughts on everything in general? You can share them down below in the comment section. It's the place to put your thoughts. Funnily enough, like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications. Straight to your
My fingers are disappearing.
That's the monitor once again. Infringing on the sort of the shot. It's annoying as fuck. It really is. I put the monitor up as high as it can possibly go. I like to put it right up so that I'm not looking down like that. And then you're getting like a double chin. Do that Ricky Gervais one.
Now then, guys. Back on the road.
Back on the road again.
That's how you look like that. You did that.
Cookies. I've got a sweet tooth. Follow us over on Twitch. And not subscribe. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. What the fuck is it?
Twitch?
Oh, Jesus, I thought it was a spider.
Oh, you're
Don't do
pointing
that
over
to
there.
Steve.
I was like, it's a Twitch over
Holy
there.
fuck. Yeah, I always do that. I always point over there. That's what Twitch is. Follow. And do whatever the fuck you want. Notifications thing over on Twitch as well. Like and follow us on Spotify. Spotify's up there. Spotify podcasts. And all that's left to be said is until the next time, this is a shambles. I'm not even remotely ready to click anything. I need to get the stream deck back. Till the next time, me and Steve are done. Bye-bye. Thank you for the comments as well. One barrel. That's one for the blooper reel.